Let me tell you something that's going to bother you for days. The smartest person in the room is usually the easiest one to control. Not the dumbest, not the weakest. The smartest. And the reason why will make you question every person who's ever been kind to you. Here's the truth. Your intelligence is being used against you right now. And the person doing it? They're not smarter than you. They never were. They're just willing to do things your brain refuses to consider. That's the gap. That's where they live. If you've been through this, you know the feeling. You walk away from a conversation confused. You did nothing wrong, but somehow you're apologizing. You had all the facts. You had the logic, and you still lost. That's not weakness. That's a trap specifically built for minds like yours. Stay with me, because once you see this, you can never be touched by it again. Most people never see this coming because they're looking for the wrong enemy. You expect manipulation to look aggressive. You expect it to come with red flags, with obvious lies, with someone who seems evil. But that's not how it works. The most dangerous manipulators in your life look harmless. They look confused. They look like they need your help. And that's exactly the point. Machiavelli once wrote, "Men are so simple and so much creatures of circumstance that the deceiver will always find someone ready to be deceived." He wasn't talking about fools falling for fools. He was talking about you, the thinker, the analyzer, the person who gives people the benefit of the doubt because their mind is trained to find logical explanations for irrational behavior. That's the door they walk through. Here's how it starts. They say something that doesn't make sense. You catch it. Your brain flags it immediately because that's what intelligent minds do. They notice inconsistency, so you bring it up. Calmly, rationally, you lay out exactly what was said and why it contradicts itself. And then they do the one thing you never prepared for. They don't argue back. They don't defend the logic. They look at you like you're the one who's confused. That's not what I meant. You're overthinking it. Why are you always making things so complicated? Your brain, built for logic, now has a problem it can't solve. Because the inconsistency is still there. You know what you heard, but now you're spending 80% of your mental energy wondering if maybe, just maybe, you got it wrong. That's the trap closing. They won't admit it, but that moment of doubt, that's the entire goal. They didn't need to win the argument. They just needed to make you question your own mind long enough to drop your defense. Intelligent people fall for this harder than anyone else because you're trained to consider all angles. You've been told your whole life to see other perspectives. So when someone plants self-doubt, your own intelligence waters it. Here's what you do instead. You stop engaging the confusion. You anchor to your direct experience, not what they meant, what happened, what was said, what you observed. That's how I experienced it, and that's what I'm addressing. No debate, no renegotiation, full stop. If you're an intelligent person, you probably also have something most people don't, a conscience. You think before you act. You consider consequences. You feel guilt when you hurt someone, even accidentally. And to a manipulator, that conscience is a weapon they pick up and use against you every single time. Here's the truth. They didn't target you because you're weak. They targeted you because you're good. Because they knew that you'd second-guess yourself before you'd second-guess them. Watch how this plays out. You set a boundary, a clear one, a reasonable one, and instead of respecting it, they make you feel like your boundary is the problem. After everything I've done for you, I thought you were different. I can't believe you treat me this way. Your brain immediately runs a guilt calculation. Did I overreact? Was I too harsh? Am I being selfish? And while you're busy running that calculation, they've already moved through the boundary you just set. Machiavelli understood this. He wrote that men are ungrateful, fickle, and deceitful. Not because humanity is evil, but because most people act from self-interest while presenting it as emotion. The manipulator isn't hurt. They're hunting. Their tears are a tactic. Their silence is a punishment. Their guilt trips are a leash they've attached to your conscience. If you've been through this, you know the feeling. You end up apologizing to the person who wronged you. You end up comforting the one who caused the damage. You end up smaller, and they end up with exactly what they wanted. Here's what changes everything. Forgiveness is not the same as access. You can forgive someone and still remove them from your proximity. You can wish them well from a distance that never closes. Your values don't demand that you offer yourself as a target. When they say, "I thought you were better than this," your answer is simple. I am. Nothing more. Now this is the one nobody talks about. And it's the most dangerous. Intelligent people have one consistent blind spot. They underestimate people who appear less intelligent than them. And the most sophisticated manipulators in the world know this. So they wear the mask. They play confused. They ask too many basic questions. They make small, stupid-seeming mistakes. They laugh at themselves before you can. They seem scattered, harmless, and a little lost. And you, being the analytical person you are, immediately categorize them as not a threat. That's the moment the game begins. Most people never see this. While you were busy explaining something to them for the third time, they were studying you. They were learning what you value. What frustrates you? What makes you feel superior? What makes you feel needed? Because here's the real secret. Making someone feel superior is the easiest way to control them. The moment you think you're smarter than someone, you stop watching them closely. You stop guarding your words. You start teaching instead of observing. And a skilled manipulator turns every teaching moment into intelligence gathering. They learn what you care about. Then they use it. They learn what you're afraid of. Then they weaponize it. They learn what you need to feel respected. Then they give it to you, exactly when they need something in return. This is calculated patronage. Machiavelli saw it clearly. The gift given to create the debt, the flattery offered to lower the guard. The confusion was performed to buy time. They won't admit it, but the idiot in the room is often the most dangerous person there. Here's what this demands from you. Watch behavior across time, not words, not first impressions, patterns. The confused person who always seems to benefit from confusion. The person who makes mistakes that consistently work in their favor. The one who needs your help constantly, but is never available when you need theirs. That's not incompetence. That's strategy. Stop giving your attention to who they seem to be. Start tracking what they consistently do. So how do you become untouchable to all of this? Not by becoming cold, not by becoming suspicious of everyone, not by building walls so high that nothing reaches you. You become untouchable by becoming unreadable. Stop explaining yourself to people who don't deserve the explanation. Stop justifying your decisions to people who only use that information to find the weakness in your position. Silence is not emptiness. Silence is armor. The moment you stop reacting, you stop being useful to them. The moment you stop defending, they have nothing to argue against. The moment your emotions stop being predictable, their entire strategy collapses. Here's the truth. Most manipulation doesn't survive contact with someone who simply refuses to engage. Not aggressively, not dramatically. Just quietly, completely, done. You don't owe them an explanation for your distance. You don't owe them closure. You don't owe them the version of you they were using. Pull back without announcement. Let them wonder. Let them try to provoke the reaction they're used to. And when they get nothing, when the silence you give them is real and total, watch how fast the mask drops. Because manipulators need an audience. They need your reaction to feel powerful. Take that away. And what you're left with is just someone ordinary, with ordinary insecurities, running a strategy that no longer works. And that is where your power actually lives. Not in the argument, you win. Not in the confrontation. In that moment, you decided you were no longer available for the game. Here's what I want you to sit with. The people who manipulated you weren't smarter than you. They were just more willing. Willing to lie when you wanted to be fair. Willing to use your conscience against you when yours wouldn't let you use theirs. Willing to appear weak so you'd let your guard down. And the thing that made you vulnerable? It wasn't a flaw. It was your intelligence, your empathy, your ability to see the good in someone even when the evidence said otherwise. Those aren't weaknesses to eliminate. They're strengths to protect. Because the version of you that stopped caring, stopped trusting, stopped feeling, that's not power. That's just damage wearing a mask. Real power is staying exactly who you are, while making sure no one can ever use it against you again. Most people never see this until it's too late. You just saw it. So the only question left is this. Who in your life has been using your intelligence against you? And what are you going to do about it now?